Well, good morning, happy Friday. And it might be -2 out here, but at least the sun is now beginning to shine behind me, which is, we'll wait and see whether I can actually still run the video if the sun's coming up or not, because the east is directly over my shoulder. But I hope you've all had a lovely week. And first of all, I'm going to tell the pony story. As a few of you might have noticed, that I changed my profile picture on the Ascension page to me communicating with one of the New Forest ponies, or at least telling it that I didn't have an apple. Sorry pony, no apples. I came unprepared. But the story behind it is when I came down to this planet, I came through with some hereditary asthma and a list of fairly intensive allergies, one of which was horses. Now, I know that horse allergies aren't particularly common, but this one was kind of, it's a little bit like those stories of peanut allergies that you hear. And we didn't find out until I was 7 years old, and my auntie took me out for a horse ride, and I just swelled up like a pufferfish and was very poorly for a couple of weeks. So from that point onwards, I've been loving horses and ponies from a distance, quite obviously. And over the years, it's just I haven't really thought too much of it. I've just kind of taken it into my surroundings. These animals are something that I can't go near or can't touch, because for obvious reasons. And I've been reminded by, in various parts, by going into the same spaces where people have had horse riding clothes on, or meeting somebody who's ridden a horse, and I've reacted to it. Well, all of a sudden I just I got the intuition that whatever I needed to clear had been cleared, and lo and behold, we're out in the New Forest, and that beautiful white pony came up to the car, and I stroked it. And this is something that I would normally not be able to do, and didn't wash my hands until I got home. Made sure that I kind of did what you'd call a skin test, and there was no reaction. So after nearly 49 years on this planet of not being able to go near or communicate with horses, touch wood, I have now cleared whatever was the trigger for the allergy. Now it's past life stuff, I'm not going to go into that this morning, but there was an incident that happened in a Templar lifetime, apparently, that has triggered on and followed through. Now, interestingly enough, it brings me into what I want to talk about this morning, which is the amount of stuff that we have got coming up for us at the moment, but it's actually getting really physical. I mean, I know a lot of us have kind of experienced ascension symptoms, but as with everything that I do, I've picked up and I've noticed patterns. This is patterns that I've kind of identified with communications, either directly or seen within groups. Is the fact that the intensity of the light that we're receiving is now showing us all of the restrictions, blockages, all the way right through to the kind of the ancient kind of even curses that we might have had put on us in previous lifetimes. These things go with us when we incarnate. Like something happens to us 5 lifetimes ago, if it was very prominent, if it happened and say, we lost our lives in that lifetime as a result of it, the effect of that, or the imprint, or the I almost call it a black print within the chakra, or the part of the body, is now becoming visible for us to clear, because we can't take that into the new higher frequency that we're moving into. So some of you will be clearing stuff within your third eye, symbols that might have been etched into your third eyes, or even into your crown, the kind of the seat of your internal mastery, or your throat. I'm hearing and seeing a lot of people at the moment who've got their old Atlantean collars coming off, or other, the throat has been a big one, because 10,000 years we've been restricted from speaking our truths on this planet, and if we did speak our truth we'd be punished. And that's very much the theme that is coming up at the moment. We're hearing of all of this censorship on social media. If you dare speak the truth, then you get deplatformed and everything. And it's just another method of book burning. So of course we're just speaking even louder. We're sort of like, it prompts us to clear the blockages. It prompts us to remove whatever trauma it was that was identified in that lifetime. And this goes all the way down through the chakra column. It goes through the heart, it goes through the solar plexus. It kind of it evades the navel slightly, because the navel's got a completely different function. It's a blueprint chakra only. Another massive one is the sacral chakra, particularly for the divine feminine souls. All of the old kind of wounds and past life scars are now coming to the surface to be cleared. There's no other way for it. There's no other way forward apart from to deal with these things and go on. And then of course the base, which is the anchor point for our higher self. So every time we raise our frequency, every time we raise our vibration, a new version of us comes down from our monad and it anchors into our base chakra. So there is so much going on physically at the moment. I mean, over the years we've cleared energy. We've cleared things from our four-body system which have been holding us back. But never more have we had a period of time where it's physically on the table. So how do we deal with this? How do we navigate actually having physical symptoms from these past life things? And the only way to deal with that is to go for the highest frequency possible. Now, a lot of times when we're clearing trauma, or we're clearing past life restrictions, blockages, old symbols, curses, whatever you want to call them, one of the old methods of dealing with it would be to go into the energy that created it, or at least kind of meet it on a level. And that, a lot of the time, that's very uncomfortable for us, because we have to drop our vibration to that frequency. So I've been kind of navigating around that slightly. And one of the easiest ways to do it is to find somebody who is proficient at dealing with these kind of things. Now, there are so many of us in service at the moment, and there are so many different souls who are doing incredible, very high frequency jobs. But I'm going to include links and contact details to a couple of people that I've seen recently who are already working in this particular field, and they're very good at their jobs as well. So it's onwards and upwards. And again, we're still navigating this. The only way to describe it is new energy platform. It changed over the Easter weekend so drastically that a lot of us are we've been grounded temporarily. I'm noticing also a lot of inability to move, frustration. Now, I know we all kind of run the same energy when we're on our pathways, when we're moving forward, when we're striving to make a difference, basically, to do what we've incarnated to do. We enjoy the forward movement, we enjoy the challenge. There's nothing more satisfying than being pushed into scenarios. We're no longer bored, we're in service, we're in full effect. And all of a sudden, loads of us are being asked to be stationary, to be still, to be calm, to be quiet, to be silent, and just to reintegrate at a higher level and learn to use this new energy platform. Now, depending on your level of resistance, this can either be a short experience or it can go on for a very long time. Because and I know this from personal experience, my response to slowing down or basically being grounded, it's something that I've had to work through. I'm not good with it. Never have been. As soon as I have my toys taken away from me, I'm like, right, okay, and I know a lot of you will be able to identify this. You start bouncing off the walls. It's, you know, have I had my ability, you know, my ability to work spiritually taken away? Why am I being asked to be still? I was doing so well. I was moving forward so quickly, and all of a sudden, boff, you're grounded. And not only are you grounded, you probably feel physically quite rough as well. Well, this is a very distinct energy navigation that we will be asked to do at the moment if we are having to kind of recalibrate at this much higher frequency. And like I said in the last video, it's simply a case of sitting back and allowing yourself to move into flow. Okay, everything about the energy at the moment is about flow. It's about calmness. It's about approaching whatever we can see and feel around us from the heart, rather than from whatever emotional response has been triggered to engage us within that particular modality. So this is a theme. This is something that I've heard repeatedly over the course of the last week. It's frustration. It's people, many of you, who are suddenly having an inability, or even so much as not having any energy to work, just feeling like relaxing, doing nothing, but feeling that constant kind of nagging in the back of the head. I should be doing this, I should be doing that. No, you shouldn't. Okay, if you're getting this at the moment, if you're getting this period of time where, you know, all of a sudden you don't want to get up, you don't feel like doing your spiritual practices, you don't feel like going for a run, you don't feel like working, then give yourself that time. Okay, it will only be, as far as I can tell, a short period of calibration. Okay, but we do, every time the energy steps up, every time the frequency jumps, and it doesn't do it gently anymore. It's not little kind of kindergarten energy, oh, let's raise the energy gently. All of a sudden, overnight, we're presented with a completely new platform of energy to work with. Okay, and if I'm following a pattern, which it probably won't do because the energy is changing so quickly, if I'm following the pattern, this last happened 2 years ago, exactly this time of year. So it was April 2019. When I identified that the Schumann resonance was picking up on these incredible new energy fluctuations, and then all of a sudden, wham, I'm having to completely re-engage with my reality and bring work in at a different level, because the previous way wasn't working. So if you're experiencing that at the moment, step back. Just step back, allow yourself a little bit of time, or however much time you need, to just integrate, bring it all in. Now, I know I said this last week as well, or it might have even been on Monday, but it's very important at the moment, because it won't shift until we address it on a different level, until you've given yourself that time, until you've adjusted to it. And this is the way that this new high frequency energy works. If you thrash against it, if you resist it, then it immediately, it's just an immovable wall. You might have got somewhere 10 years ago, but you won't be able to fight your way through this one. You have to flow with it. It flows very beautifully, very smoothly, but it requires us to be grounded. It requires us to be engaged in a heart-centered way. It requires us to be basically very aware of everything and everyone and what is going on around us, but on a fifth dimensional level. So in a nutshell, what is happening is the previous ways of addressing energy, the previous thought patterns, the previous blueprints, everything that was so easy to access previously is becoming increasingly more inaccessible. Okay, this is how the energy is working, and this is how it's working for the whole planet. Gradually, slowly but surely, the old doorways and the old ways of doing things and the old blueprints, or gold prints as my friend Paul de Carey would like to call them, they are being shut down. The old ones no longer function, they no longer work, and the only ones that do work are the ones that are created for us at higher platform. So if you're on the pathway, if you are striving, if you're raising your bar high, if you're here in service, you know you're in service and you're doing this with integrity and you're integrating that into your life, then the higher platforms, this higher operating system, is the only one that functions correctly. And in the most beautifully technical and clever way, this is how it's shutting down all of this kind of, I don't say, maybe not shutting down, but the way that this entire kind of turmoil that we're seeing on the planet around us is being dealt with is that, and I've said this before in previous videos, if you are worried about the kind of the way that it seems that societies are being shut down and kind of oppressed very, very rapidly, there's no way that can work at our higher frequency. Okay, anybody who is wishing to control people, anyone that is wishing to shut something down, create the circumstances that a lot of people are worried about out there, it might look on the surface like that is going to happen, but on paper, on an energy level, that can't happen in the vibration that we're going to, because the construction of the energy, the construction of the blueprint or gold print that we are now living in, we're now working with, it will not support that format. Okay, so it might look oppressive, but it is simply a deconstruction of the old energy. It might look worrying, and you might hear people making all of the noises that indicate that this is going to occur, but it is simply there for clearance and wake-up purposes. Okay, now I've spoken about that previously, so if you want to go back and refer to some of my old videos, then please feel free to do so. They're on my timwild.com website. So this is where we are at the moment. There is a lot of stuff coming up to be cleared, and it's physical. Okay, so work with your chakras. If you're feeling this stuff coming up, there's one of the most prominent ones, and probably prominent because it's affecting me the most, is the and it just reminds me so much of the Matrix movie, is there's a part of our neck which meets the back. And it's almost like if you watch the Matrix movie, it's where Neo is plugged into the Matrix and he's unplugged from that point. And it's almost like there's a whole collection of us that are getting pain, stiffness, soreness in exactly the same part of neck, at the back of the neck, at the base of the neck, where the neck meets the top of the back. It's almost like the unplugging point. And I'm repeatedly seeing and hearing people talk about that particular area being a target point. So work with your chakras. Okay, work with them from the stellar gateway, where the tip of my finger is pointing at the beautiful tree, right down to your earth star, and make sure that you are grounded. Go through each chakra individually, but particularly work with the ones in the area that you might be having the pain, you might have the blockage, you might have whatever it is that's coming up. And there are tools and there are resources and there are wonderful healers and people out there who are very, very proficient with working with energy, that clear these things, that are actually, you know, it's work time now. It's what we've incarnated to do. So we're all supported on this for our jobs by the people around us who are also awake. We've all got our separate jobs to do, but they all tie in together. We're all kind of keyed in with each other globally, supporting each other in a very, very powerful network of light. So just, if you need to, reach out. If you need some healing, if you need some time out, if you need assistance to clear that blockage or that old scar within your chakra or whatever it is that's come up, reach out and do it. I know sometimes a lot of us, we find it quite difficult to, like, I need help, and reach out to do so. But now is the time, because if you ask for it, it will be there for you. Okay, and like I said in the video about this energy requires flow. It requires you to breathe and relax into it. It requires you to keep your vibration as high as possible, And it just, if you're feeling resistance, if you feel that you can't move, that you are, then just continue to work with it. Just let go of all of your expectations and just see where the resistance is. Okay, hand on heart, sending you all lots of love. Hope you have a beautiful weekend. And for those of you that are joining David and I tomorrow night, we have got a lovely workshop in store for you. We're working with Archangel Raphael and we're working with Archangel Jophiel. And the details, if you haven't signed up and you want to, then the details will be in the text at the top of the video. So bye for now, lots of love, talk to you soon.